Housin, let me give you some feedback on the draft of your essay. First of all, the format is fine, no problems with it. I mostly what I've highlighted are some things in yellow, which are either punctuation mistakes or word choice issues. There are more things that I've highlighted in magenta, which is that kind of pinkish purple. That means I need you to explain it a little bit more. I think there was one problem with a citation. So let's go paragraph by paragraph. I believe I decided to let's see, to talk about a family gathering and see the behaviors between women and men, also children in my family. I would put a period here. It should be a period and then a capital A on as. What I did want to say is you talk about women, men, and children. You said you're going to see the behaviors of, three different groups of people, and you only talk about your sister-in-law. So you might want to add a little information about how men behaved and how children behaved, or you might want to just talk about, let's see, the behaviors of women, specifically, one other person, my sister-in-law. Okay. I like this statement that you have here. A family gathering together is hopeful, more joyful, and more thoughtful. Can you explain, just maybe give me one or two more sentences to explain what you mean? Instead of besides, I think you mean maybe inside or within the family gathering. I could see nonverbal communication at the gathering from everyone. See, again, you say everyone, and you really just focus on your sister-in-law. So I think it would be a good idea if you talked just a little bit about how people behaved in terms of their nonverbal communication. Okay. Oh, here it's a really small. You just need to hold on. Yeah, you just need to have one space there. Okay. So here is a little. What I'd like you to do is maybe to give an example. Okay, here's an example of, you said you saw adults using more nonverbal communication. Can you give an example? What were they? They were smiling. They were raising their eyebrows. I don't know. They were putting their hand to their heart. Whatever it is, just describe just a few of the behaviors, the nonverbal behaviors that they used. Okay. So, when you got to talking about your sister-in-law, I think instead of with my brother or strangers. Okay. Strangers. There we go. I thought it would be a good idea if, I thought I highlighted it. Could you, when you're talking about the family gathering, just say who was at this gathering? Because it seems like it was everyone at the gathering was a member. What's the word? Was a biological member of the family, and your sister-in-law was the only person who had married into the family, I think. Let's see. I would say get rid of this line. You don't need it because you say it a little bit in the next sentence. Could you explain a little bit? You said it's completely different. Okay, so when she's talking to you, or when she's talking to your brother who's her husband, what's her tone of voice like? And then you can compare it to when she's talking to people who are men who are not within the group that she can uncover her hair with, etc. Okay. Can you also explain why you think that not looking at them was not respectful. And then you said maybe she didn't mean it. I'm going to talk about that when I get a little bit lower. I'll come back to that point. Okay. So you don't mean beginning, you mean being together as a family is important. Okay. You end on a very interesting statement, but you never talked about it in the essay. And so that's something that I would want you to do. If you feel that this is really an important point, then you need to discuss it a little bit more. Okay, so let me get to the score sheet, and then I'll explain that point that I said I would get back to. Okay. This, I don't know why it's teeny tiny. So what you want to do, you made it, so this is all 12, and then for some reason you made this 9. So that's really too small. So you want to make it the same size. Oof. And I might have done it incorrectly. You want to make sure you do this as a hanging indent. Oof. Yeah, whenever you have... Okay, it's just going to look strange, that's all. And don't have a space here. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so you need to do a little bit more work on showing me that you understand the concept of nonverbal communication, and I will explain that in a minute. You did a really nice job on talking about social phenomena, and you could make it stronger if you explained maybe how your sister-in-law acts differently when she's maybe with other women, and or how you and any of your sisters, how they act at the family gathering, how that's different from how your sister-in-law acts. That would make it stronger. Everywhere where I said you need more details, and the last line where I said you need more details, if you explained those, it would make your critical thinking stronger. Just there were a few issues with the works cited page, that one citation, and some word choice issues. The format was good. So what you need to do to make this stronger, I've already said a couple of things, is you possibly explain how the other women were behaving. Okay. And we do this, or choose one of them. How your sister-in-law behaves with other women, because that will contrast it. Okay. And explain your last line. Okay. You also need to make sure when you revise this that you write about one characteristic of nonverbal communication and one function of nonverbal communication. My suggestion for the characteristic, one characteristic is nonverbal communication is ambiguous, meaning we're not really sure what it means. And so, remember I said I would get back to that point. Let me go up here. Where you said maybe she didn't mean it. So you basically, we look at how someone behaves nonverbally, and we don't always know what it means. That's why it's ambiguous. Somebody smiles and we think, oh, they must be happy. Well, sometimes people smile when they're nervous. Another example I frequently use is, people will cross their arms in front of them, and a lot of people will say that means that they are closing themselves off, or they're maybe angry, or they're upset. But a lot of people cross their arms that maybe they're cold. Some people I once saw two people talking who were very good friends, and they had their arms crossed, and that's just how they happen to stand. So that's why we say it's ambiguous. Okay, so that would be a characteristic of nonverbal communication. And then I think for the function of nonverbal communication. Ooh, a good one would be, hold on. I think you could either do creating and maintaining relationships, that your sister-in-law acts a certain way because she wants to keep a good relationship with people, or possibly um, it is managing impressions, which means getting other people to, your sister-in-law would be acting a certain way because she wants your family to see that she is a respectful person. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Right now, your grade, if you decided you didn't want to revise this essay, you were okay with it, you would get a grade of, well, you have a 74. You do also have to do the self-evaluation, and you can do the extra credit course review. So, some people decide they don't want to revise. Like if you say, no, I'm happy with the C, that's fine. If you decide, you can just tell me, you go into where you would put the final draft and upload the work that you did here, and then just say to me, I have not revised it. If you are hoping to get a higher grade, then I would really recommend that you do revise it. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email. If you think it would be helpful to meet, please send me an email and let me know a couple of times that might be good for you to meet.